Hi, Sofia.
Hello, Yigal, and hello, everyone who is going to be joining us via watching this video. My name is Sofia, and the intention is to have a series of conversations here with Yigal and open topics that are relevant to our life, to our daily life, to the work that Yigal offers at his retreat center. And through that, develop a conversation, develop the understanding of the different facets that are part of this kind of approach of questioning, of reminding. And I'm very much looking forward to touching this with you, Yigal.
Great. Welcome, everyone. A little bit about myself in a simple and direct way. In the last few years, I'm more self-discover myself by being with myself, by questioning myself. And all the journey starts by asking, can I be happy in any moment, in any place, and be content? And that's where the journey starts to ask questions, meeting simple people to point out that the knowledge is within ourselves and really to inquire and not stop until we see all the nature of the movement physically, mentally, emotionally, and be able to live a happy and open and simple life. So great, let's start. What is the first movement of evolution?
Well, I think that you started a great, quite comprehensive movement just now, taking us through facets that, as I said, are relevant. And to start with questioning, can I be happy? I must know what happy is, because what is happy for me might not even be true. Sometimes I go for what I think is happy, and then it brings me suffering. So I want to start with happiness, but I also want to start with something that you have mentioned many, many times in the many, many years that I've known you, which is reminding and offering a reminder. So I want to connect these two things. What is a reminder? Why is it necessary? How is it relevant? And how is it connected to happiness?
I can tell you that let's take ourselves few years back, and we all born into the space, and in the space was people, culture, language, habits, and each of us, of course, different DNA and different flavor, and we all have a common that we belong to and connect to, and that's the forgetfulness, because we don't know what happened when we born. For the first few years, we born and being present, in a way I can say contained, happy, and slowly, without being aware, our parents, society start to share with us the condition and the habits that they are passing from one generation to another generation, to superimpose idea about how should we live life, how should we didn't live life, what is our name, what is our ability, how we supposed or not supposed to behave. And to at least the 5 or 6, 7 years for some of us, we didn't have this ability to question, to discern. Is it true what they tell about me? And what is the reason that I keep sustaining The thing that I'm not sure, that's the thing that I want to sustain in order to be happy and be myself. So, in a simple way, your question to ask what is being happy or what is happiness, eternity happiness, is I found through the years, through my own experience and working with myself to people and get a reflection, is that it's not obvious to see that we're happy. Although it's our nature, it's always here. So through the journey and the inquiry that I went through, I start to question what I'm not. Being able to see what I'm not, because the condition and the habit is to identify and believing this is who I am. I am the personality, I am the name, I am the flavor, I'm the doer, I'm the experiencer, which there is no contradiction, it's part of who I am. The question, is it only who I am? And when I identify, how come the moment of happiness disappear? Because tension arise, frustration arise, fear arise, doubts arise, and the whole being feel like trapped, which there is a glimpse during the day that I can experience no limitation mentally, no specific sensation or emotion that I can label it as structure or limitation. And when I start to investigate what I'm not and slowly observe, no denial, not to attack and bring another concept that I'm not this, I'm a bad person, I'm a good person. I'm very much every day, every moment when I have the energy and I have the reminder, basically from there, all my own vision came when I sat with myself and I saw that the vision is really to spread the words, is to spread the absolute knowledge. It's for me, it's like a seed, plant the seed of in our society, and the seed is not how to live a great life or what you should or shouldn't do. The seed is the questioning seed that allowed us to remind us what we forgot, what is here, very ordinary, available all the time. Although we want to see it as a something in someone, but not necessarily that's the expression of who we are, by inquiring what we are not, observing, notice the movement from the beginning to the end, very much allowed all of us to start to see what is as it is, and then see that I am part of it. But when there is a moment nothing comes or goes, or no label sensation comes and goes, there is a recognition of stillness within ourselves, very ordinary, although later it turned to be a very spatial. Only for spatial people can be always happy. We have a very strong dogma and karma that people share with each other. It's impossible in this lifetime. Maybe we'll do it in many lifetimes. You have to do good things now, maybe later. You have to practice my way. Everyone create their own way. Otherwise, you will not be able to be always happy without misery. And today I can tell that we all have this equal ability to recognize ourselves, to recognize what we are not, and live with peace within that. And that's what I call happiness. Happiness is not about what I've done in my life, how powerful I am. It's not when I have pleasant sensation or unpleasant sensation. Happiness is not dependent on what do I feel. It's more the ability to be conscious right now, recognize what is as it is, and have the sense of joy and content. And that's what comes for me when you ask this question.
Thank you. So here are our listeners listening to that beautiful scenario and wanting to be in that place, and maybe they sit down and they say, okay, let me notice what is here and discern what I am from what I'm not. And from my own experience, I know that when I turn my attention to what is here, often I find a whole host of emotions, sensations, thoughts, memories, ideas about who I am, what I care about, what I want for myself in my life. And a lot of those things feel quite authentic. I think that all of the people that I observe, they authentically want to be happy and joyful. However, when they sit down, when we sit down, when I sit down, I don't always have this access to joy or freedom the way that you describe. So I think there is a reason why the awakening or freedom has gotten such a difficult rap behind it, that it is difficult, that not many people can do it, because there is a lot of movement, as you say, in the way. Tell me a little bit, please, how you guide the process of contacting what is here in a way that doesn't make someone, a person, go, oh, that's not joy. I'm looking for the joy, I'm looking for this freedom. But really, what is here is I'm a small, an incapable individual that didn't achieve what I wanted, and I don't have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and I'm not loved or whatever. I'm not tall enough, I don't make enough money, I don't know what to do next.
That first of all, the process of awakening that happened to this body and the people around me, it wasn't the intention. It happened like anything else, like getting pregnant or meeting someone by coincidence. It's not something that you wake up one day and say, I want to be free. Because the moment I say I want to become, it's over. Because I have to project something that it's not. So the way I remind myself through people is look at what is happening right now. I invite everyone in this moment, very much be practical. Look at your body, look to your eyes, receive from your listening, hearing, and see what's going on right now. When we don't label the experience, we just allow the experience to flow without us wanting anything to hear, anything to see, anything to feel. In this moment, only in this moment, just allow yourself, full self, to be in the space and notice the tiny move, the tiny breath, the sound, whatever it is, and you don't label it if your mind right now is connect to the body. And you have just one inhalation fully to connect to this moment. And you tell me, what's so special about this moment? When thoughts does not describe this moment, just a single thought arise, wind, breathe, sigh, smell, these single thoughts, no continuity of elaborating and explaining, just for the moment. So that's how I start the journey every moment for the first time. don't have credit from the last moment or last week or few years ago. It's a moment by moment, coming back to your body, observe the five senses, connect fully as it is. What happens sometimes, people experience difficulty to not label the experience and not make a story of it because there is no practice established yet. So I start from the end of the process to allow the person to directly experience this moment. I don't call it freedom. I don't call it enlightenment. I don't call it anything that is more than what is. And if it will take as long as it takes. You can try during the day, or a moment in the shower, or a moment you eat or cook or observe your child. And for a moment, without label this experience as more than nice, see, etc. Then there is a reference point to recognize what is as it is. And then I can go back and start to develop this ability that we all have. It's very natural since we wake up in the morning until we fall asleep again and then wake up again. It's very ordinary recognition. That's the reminder. And then depends who is the person, what is the strong drive they have. If the mind is active or more passive, if they are, it's very dynamics. Each of the person that I meet, I give different ordinary practice, and the essence of all the practices in the last few years, especially here in the center that we do the 21 days retreat, that we allow the body and the mind to have a spatial structure, means less distraction. And for 21 days, we are start on the first day, focus on the body. If it's to the breath, to the touch, to the sight, to the listening, it's very depend is the condition of the mind. And then I start to remind people what they forgot about how basically all the movements start, how the movement end, and what's happening in between. So the more we're familiar with something, we experience more familiarity. There's less fear about something that we don't know. Because what happened, we are afraid of the unknown. That's why we are very much wants to know the unknown. And it's not that we cannot experience the unknown. We cannot project unknown and experience the unknown. We can, for a moment, not project this moment and experience what's happening right now. And this is basically connecting back to myself, connecting to the breath, and notice the thought or emotion arise. In the first steps is nothing to do, to fix, to become anything. I allowed people to be themselves as it is in this moment, before they come and wants to fix themselves or become something. And the process is fascinating because I don't ever know the unknown. The journey is unknown. The interaction is unknown. Constantly the knowledge arises within me and share it and receive it. And it's living in a life that it's all miracle, but not the miracle that I've been taught, not angel arise, extremely kundalini arise, my ability to move my body in a certain way that it's like, wow, people look at me and say, wow, you are a master, not wearing any special clothes, that there is aura and light. I'm talking to us, to the ordinary people that living moment by moment life, having family, having children, going to work, have passion, music, sport, whatever it is, because I see that we overlook something very simple, that it's available for all of us. And I have a vision that one day, if we really want to live in peace, we can recognize the pieces within ourselves and we can share it with others. And the effect is we all living in peace, we all living here, everyone do what they really meant to do, born to do. They are content, they are happy with what is, they know how to appreciate, acknowledge, and have lots of gratitude to live this ordinary, extremely ordinary life.
I remember for so many years hearing from you, constant, not even hearing, but sort of being woken up into a place of not attempting to project the unknown. So I have a deep smile when I hear it again today. And I want to connect that to what you said in the beginning, that knowledge is within us. So I hear that we cannot know the unknown, and I can confirm that. That we can only experience it moment to moment, and yet all knowledge is within us and we can inquire into it. Tell me a little bit how you see the connection between these two.
Yes, when I point to knowledge, it's not information, because sometimes I got confused between knowledge, which some will call absolute knowledge. I call it knowledge because I see everything here is knowledge, and there is information. And the distinguish between knowledge and information is that the knowledge is not affected by time. Information can affect by the time. And I give an example, like the knowledge is the water is flowing down. The water is wet. This is the law of nature, which I call knowledge. Then there is information that the atom cannot split many years ago. And now the scientists say, no, wait, the atom can split. Or it's the right way to be like that. And after a few years, people change their mind. No, it's the right way to be the other way. So it's very useful to see the difference between information and knowledge for each of us. And the way the knowledge is within us, we can experience it. First of all, we all, in a way, the body had the knowledge to create itself. The body had the knowledge to allow the body to go out to the space and grow and breathe, digest. So we can see as a baby, the first years, many things the baby able to do without anyone teaching him how to do. Of course, with the years, as adults, observing baby and thinking the baby doesn't know, let me teach him. And that's what my confusion. So instead of keep learning for myself for the rest of my life, I fall into this cultural authority. You follow what I'm telling you to do, what is right for you to do. And this is, at that moment, is educate us and create some condition not to ask myself. And that's where I go to my parents and ask them what they think, what is right for me to do, then for my teacher, and then my friend, and eventually I become a mature adult and I see that I have to get some permission from people how to wear and what to do. Is it okay? So I'm very much losing the knowledge that it's within us. And by reminding to ask the question within, suddenly if you sit right now still and notice that without wanting thought appear within us, and some thought appear, open the door. And you open the door and someone come in and you say, wow, how smart I am. I know, I have a knowledge. And then suddenly you see some window open and rain coming in and you close the window. Oh, I have this knowledge to close the window. Although I learned it, some of them, but at that moment, how to move my body, what to think, we are overlooked, but it's happening when our thinking start to slow down. We start to connect back to the knowledge, the miracle of movement, the miracle of sounds. And that's how I see that to activate the knowledge is start with slowing down the body and connect back to the body and sitting with yourself and notice how many thoughts it's about past information and not so much the knowledge of be practical being and take action, simple and direct. So, yes.
I want to clarify that I understand the discernment that you are bringing here, and that is that this knowledge that is fresh and not coming from the past and that isn't information is available when the mind is relatively still and open, where just like in an open space something can arise, whereas when the mind is busy with thoughts about the past or the future, or busy with, let's say, emotional turmoil, anxiety that may be happening in the moment, the knowledge has no place to arise in.
Yes, the knowledge can arise, but I will say it as information because there is noise. Because the knowledge bird can have a sound, but because I have internal sound with my mind, I'm not available to listen, to connect. So this is where when I connect to my body, that's the knowledge, because everything starts with the body has the knowledge to create itself. And that's where they used to come back to the body and slowly start to connect and feel and observe. And I like to share about the knowledge and how the intellect start to awaken within oneself. And I will, in a moment, define how do I see the function of the intellect so it will be clear. Because when we use language, words, we have to bridge because sometimes we are not familiar what is the words pointing to.
Very much
because
so.
if we try to analyze the words, we overlook. But if we see what the words pointing towards, we can see very clearly that it is the knowledge, and the knowledge arises within in. Although sometimes it triggers from outside. Someone share with me something that I say, of course, the sun is coming from down in the morning. I know that. Thank you. It's within me, although it triggered from outside of me. And another point that when I meet people, and it's very useful for us to remember that, because otherwise we turn knowledge into a belief, and that's not the point. Knowledge is just pointing beyond the belief. Basically, I see that there is indirect knowledge and direct knowledge. When I mean indirect knowledge is reading, listening, people are share with us. I call it also theory. And then there is the direct experience, which is direct knowledge when I experience that. And I give an example. When someone is sharing with me that the water is wet, and whenever I go into the world, high mountain, low valley, salt water, sweet water, cold water, hot water, whenever I touch it or I put a cloth into it, it will turn to be wet. So the water is wet. But I don't know about that. I never touch the water all over the world. I have to believe them. And one day I decide, okay, let me see, let me go experiment, going around, and I really put it into use what they are pointing to me. Check, find out for yourself. And what happened, I found out that it's exactly what they describe. Water is wet. Doesn't matter if it's a hot water, cold water, salty or sweet water. And what I got is to see that the indirect knowledge and direct knowledge become one. When something becomes one, I cannot have doubts about that. So the knowledge has to be absolute. And that's from there they share why absolute knowledge is absolute knowledge, because there is indirect, direct, become one, no beliefs, and we don't create another dogma, and we are not following people, we are not looking for authority to tell us what is knowledge, because no one will be able to digest the food for us. Therefore, no one can knowing for us. The knowledge has to arise within us. And that's how awakening moments start, and reminder to go back and tap to the knowledge that we are seeking for or we are longing to.
Wonderful. And as we only have a few minutes left, I love that you brought it to this point of absolute knowledge being the union point between knowing about something and then knowing it through direct experience. And what I would like to close today's conversation is with a simple practice that you can introduce for people to, for our listeners to use in their daily life to get a taste of personal taste, personal discovery, and maybe we can think of a way where people can share their experiences with the practice, and we can address them in future conversations as topics. And something that they can use, something that will make it accessible and available to meet what is in the moment when they contact the direct knowledge.
Yes, I like this idea that not only talking, also practical action, because if we don't see that what we talk, it's working right now, not the next moment. When we are hungry and someone say, yeah, you can eat this food and tomorrow you will be satisfied, we are not going to be so happy with that. So what my direct experience with all these practices is that when I give it a time, I can see right away that it's working. And some people get confused and they say, yeah, I practice, it's working, but it's not all the time. So I like to share with all of us, nothing is all the time, it's moment by moment. So I invite everyone, what I still do with myself and the people that I guide, is the first steps before we do anything. We want to connect to the breath. That's the first things when we come to the space, which is called the world. The first things the baby does is breathing. And the last thing that we're gonna do before we allow the body to come back to the earth is we will have breath. And in between the first and the last, we even forgot that the body is breathing. So why do I like this practice? Because it's not require a special moment. It's not require a special place. It is so ordinary practice that you start now, it can carry you all along the journey. Anyway, it's already here. If you practice or not practice, the body is breathing. So now we want to remind the mind Pay attention, the body is breathing. You don't have to sit in a position, in spatial position. You don't have to do any movement or environment again. You just want in this moment, notice that the body is breathing, but you don't control the breath. You don't count the breath. You don't try only from the nostril or only from the mouth, only from the skin. No practice at all. Just be kind to yourself and put the intention. Make like 20 small stickers, a reminder in the mirror, in the car, in the door, everywhere you are engaged during the day in your office. It will be a smiley, and right top, are you breathing? Are you conscious the body is breathing? And you only need to remember one time. You don't have now to stay with the breathing as a practice. Now 5 minutes I'm conscious, great, I'm good. 10 minutes I'm conscious. Not at all. All what you have to do is consciously remember, wow, breathing is happening. Great, breathing is happening. So that's what I suggest, recommend, offer to all of us, to have a simple practice that it's not require achieving, it's not require comparing, it's not limited practice. It's a practice that you can use it. And what is the purpose of the practice? Is to remind the mind that the body exists. Is to remind the mind breathing is exist. Maybe some of you hearing me right now and have much more knowledge than me and experience than me and say, oh, come on. We're supposed to negate the body. The body is not exist. Who care about the breathing? I am that I am. I am free. I am happy. For these people, I will smile and say, you don't need this. Don't practice that because you are already free. I'm talking to the people like me, like you, like any ordinary being. If you feel some stress in your life, doubts, fear, this is the moment. This is the only moment to make a fully transformation. Body is breathing. That's all. Smile, breathe, and just enjoy your life.
What I love about the way you presented that, Yigal, is that the simple noticing of the breathing, because a lot of times when I see reminders such as, are you breathing? Immediately and as I observe others, I think, am I breathing? I gotta breathe. And so it kicks someone into this active doing of the breathing. And I really appreciate that you are describing it with such a relaxed approach to actually locate the breathing that is already happening. And it can be fast breathing, slow breathing, disturbed breathing, anxiety breathing. But from my experience, when I simply come back and just recognize that breathing is happening, immediately my whole nervous system returns to some kind of regulation. It may not be ideal regulation, but it's some kind of location that I am here. And that to me has been one of the most soothing elements that can and have supported me in going deeper from there.
Absolutely. That's a great reminder that anyone that hears us right now, notice that, don't believe. You can be here and breathe without the stress. I should know breathing. I should be aware. All the practices has to be effortless. Otherwise, it's not going to stay for the rest of our life. Even eating, we used to practice. No one think about practice eating anymore. We just enjoy the eating, and that's the practice. And the real practice is to live moment by moment. So very much we can develop the way to remind ourselves without stress. Because then what is the reason why we start?
And because we are beings that are wired for rewards, I also invite our listeners to notice in those moments when there is a contact with the breathing and a landing, as I experienced, to notice the presence of contentment. To what degree? Was it present? Was it not? Did I feel more at peace? Did I feel maybe just one more drop of happiness? Maybe is a big word, but maybe joy, maybe some sense of appreciation. To notice also the effect.
Absolutely. Yes, I very much appreciate your present and lovely to connect with all of you. Although I don't see, I can feel. It's moment by moment being here. No concept about what does it mean to be here. I wish all of us just be and enjoy what is as it is, and let's see what life will gonna bring us the next conversation. And I will be happy if people give a feedback and there is something special that they like to hear or they like to ask, and slowly we can make it collaborate, because we have this tool right now to be connect to one mind and express the mind to all the bodies that exist in the planet.
Yes, I'm very much looking forward to the experiences that will be shared within this week. We will send out a way that people can share the various observations, experiential observations, and we will touch on them next time. Thank you so much,
Great,
Yigal.
great. See you soon.
Bye-bye.